We are conditioned to believe that we are separate individuals living in a disconnected world. But according to quantum mechanics, independence is a mathematical fiction. If you try to calculate properties of a single electron on its own, your solution fails. You physically cannot define a part without defining the whole. To put it another way, everything in the universe is a single entangled entity. And in this excerpt of our podcast with Dr. Berel Epstein, we demonstrate why the Shema isn't just a prayer we say twice a day. It is the most accurate description of physical reality that science has ever found.
When you talk about the unity of the universe and all the different places in the universe that we see, that really it's what we see is oneness, and all of modern physics is kind of the theme. So Yiddishkeit is really the religion that came forth and said there's one God, ein od milvado, there's nothing else. And that sort of Chiddush, that sort of Judaism, I think uniquely lines up with the implications of modern physics.
So it's interesting you say that, because here, the bookmarks, getting back to it, quantum entanglement. I'm curious your thoughts on this. You wrote, in order to describe an electron, it's only an approximation. To truly describe it, we must include in the calculation every single electron in the universe in a symmetrical way. That is, all electrons are one entity, and they're all intertwined despite being light years between them. Quantum entanglement experiments verify this, that measuring one particle will instantaneously affect another particle many, many miles away, even though things cannot, information at least, cannot travel this faster than the speed of light. And then you wrote, again, oneness. So if you want to expound just a little on that, quantum entanglement's a funny thing, but it's literally going off what you just said.
Sure. Yeah, so it's really an incredible phenomenon that we see that the electrons really do seem to be one entity. To change something that instantaneously, it's not that we saw information and the other electron actually knew it, but Bell's experiment really shows that the information mamish came from this electron here and faster than the speed of light transferred to the other one. And so the implication of these electrons really being one, and not only that, but quantum entanglement has been shown in the last 5 years between two different kinds of particles. So meaning we understand now the whole world is quantum entangled. Every particle is quantum entangled with every other particle. And to truly express the universe, you need sort of one wave function. And I think one thing we learn out of that, you're talking about to be mekabel ol malchus shamayim. So when we say Hashem is echad, so there's a lot of layers then in the Shema every morning and night when we say it. What does it mean Hashem is echad?
If you're enjoying this excerpt from my podcast with Dr. Epstein, be sure to sign up for my weekly newsletter so you don't miss out on a sneak preview of my upcoming book on the synthesis of Torah and science. The link is in a pinned comment below the subscribe button.
So one is ein od milvado, the whole world is one. Not just there aren't other gods, but everything in the world is one. And furthermore, my ratzon and Hashem's ratzon are one. There's nothing except for Hashem. So the true resonance, proper existence, is to put one's ratzon in line with that of Hashem, to be batal b'shishi, and
I think that that's in the entire being. But sorry, go on.
And the whole Metzias, right, even more. So that when we see milk dropping in a pot of chicken soup, it's just a mushal even for us when we try to drop in the pot of the whole Metzias of all of Hashem, and that one is, I think, what you talk about for I think smart, rational people. I think like you and me, the concept of being mekabel ol malchuso. So when we grow up our whole lives, everyone says you're so smart and you're doing great in school, and it creates a certain ego that makes it difficult sometimes to be mekabel malchuso Shema, because I'm something,
right.
I feel like
I'm
it's
important. I'm
other
smart.
People can be easier, right? And so I think that's the beauty of like the Lubavitcher Rebbe, when he has Emunah Pshuta, and you and I, who Baruch Hashem have arrived at the trajectory that we're in of getting closer and closer to the Ribono Shel Olam. It's really, I think part of that is that realization of how this oneness is not just a raya for Hashem. It's true, all the oneness in the universe. It shows that Yiddishkeit is front and center. What Avraham Avinu brought into the world of one God, that Metzias, it's showing that. But even within ourselves, I think that's the route towards growth and the route towards Hatzlacha.
Yes, and I was probably gonna mention in the intro how one of our roles, you and me and others as well, that you mentioned here, we're going to get to in a moment, in Mitzvah Hashem, is that people, I don't know about you, like when you're yourself, so, okay, what's so special? I did my PhD, I did my research, like it just makes sense to me, it works. Everyone's like, wow, you have a PhD, wow, in physics, et cetera, et cetera. And so they look at us with respect, with an aspect of kavod and with validity, and it helps build their conviction that they see that like we're fighting that battle. That they'll tell someone like, I don't really know, but I know that they do. And that he's written a book and he has a YouTube channel and this one has this and this has articles. And I've listened to them. And I can't really reproduce all they're saying. I can show you them, but I know that they're out there and they're able to fight and they're holding strong. So that helps me have my conviction because I see them as pillars of truth and being able to fight these arguments and show the inner unity between everything. So I probably going to mention that in the intro that I'm going to do later, Mr. Shem. If you enjoyed this excerpt, click here to see the full podcast episode. And if you want to learn how quantum mechanics proves the Bible's age of the universe, click here. Thank you for partnering with me as we build this unshakable conviction together.